Have you ever stopped to think why a stop sign is red or why so many big, serious banks use the color blue? Well, I can tell you it is absolutely not an accident. Color, it turns out, is a kind of silent language, one that speaks directly to our emotions and, believe it or not, influences our decisions every single day. So let's dive in and decode that language together. I mean, think about it. From the moment you walk into a grocery store to when you're scrolling online, color is one of the most powerful tools in a marketer's toolkit. It's not just about making things look pretty. We're talking about pure psychology. Just a slight shift in color can create desire, build trust, or even make you hungry. It's this subtle, constant force shaping what we buy and how we feel about brands. Okay, so to really get how to use color, we need to break it down to its basic parts. I want you to think of these next three things, hue, saturation, and value, as the essential ingredients in our kitchen. Once you get these down, you can mix up any color palette you can possibly imagine. First up, we've got hue. Now this is the one you're probably already super familiar with. A hue is just the pure, basic color itself, what we call red or blue or yellow. It's the color's fundamental identity, before we start messing with it. Next, there's saturation. The best way to think about this is as the intensity of the color. A color with high saturation is really vibrant and punchy, but as you lower the saturation, it gets more muted, more gray, more subtle. So saturation is kind of like the volume dial for a color's energy. And our third and final ingredient is value. This is super simple. It's just how light or dark a color is. When you add white to a color, you get a tint. When you add black, you get a shade. And value is absolutely crucial for creating contrast and giving a design that sense of depth and realism. And here's where the magic happens. It's all about how these simple ingredients mix together. We start with our primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. These are the absolute foundation. You mix any two of them and boom, you get the secondary colors, like purple. Then you mix a primary with a secondary and you get tertiary colors. Just like that, from only 3 starting points, a whole universe of color unfolds. Okay, so we've got our ingredients. Now what? How do we actually cook with them? Well, that's where color harmony comes in. Think of these as the tried and true recipes for combining colors in ways that just work. They look good, they feel right. Let's check out a few of the most popular ones. So first, we have the monochromatic scheme. This one is so simple, but so elegant. You just pick one single hue, let's say blue, and then you build your entire palette by playing with its saturation and its value. See how we're using our building blocks? The result is always going to look clean, cohesive, and really sophisticated. Next up is the analogous scheme. For this one, you choose colors that are neighbors on the color wheel, like yellow, yellow-green, and green. Because they're already so close to each other, they naturally create this really peaceful, unified feeling. You see this all the time in nature, which is probably why it feels so balanced to our eyes. But what if you want something with a little more drama? For that, you want a complementary scheme. This is when you take 2 colors from directly opposite sides of the wheel, like red and green or blue and orange. This pairing creates the highest possible contrast, and it makes both colors seem way more vibrant. It's an amazing trick for grabbing attention and making a design really pop off the page. All right, so now we know the what and the how of combining colors, but now we get to the really fascinating part, the why. Why do these specific combinations have such a big impact on us? This is where we get into the psychology of it all, the powerful, unspoken messages that colors are constantly sending to our brains. This quote really just nails it. The colors a company chooses for its logo or products are almost never random. No. They are meticulously selected to send a very specific message about who they are and what they're selling, all before you've even read a single word of text. Let's take red. Red is pure energy. It's the color of action, passion, excitement. It can literally increase your heart rate. So, of course, brands like Coca-Cola and Nintendo use it to get you pumped up. And here's a fun one. Red is also known to stimulate appetite. Is it any surprise so many fast food chains like McDonald's use it? I think not. And then on the total opposite side of the emotional spectrum, you have blue. Blue is calming. It projects security, trust, and reliability. This is exactly why it is a massive favorite in the corporate world. Think about it. Brands like IBM, or your bank, or your insurance company use blue to send a very clear, very quiet message. We're stable. You can count on us. Green, as you can probably guess, has a direct line to nature in our minds. It makes us think of health, freshness, and growth. It's the absolute go-to for any brand that wants you to think about wellness, the environment, or anything natural. It's no coincidence that brands like Whole Foods and Starbucks lean into green so heavily. Now, this is really interesting because it shows how a color's meaning can be ancient or totally modern. For centuries, purple was linked to royalty and wealth. For one simple reason, the dye was insanely expensive. But then you have a color like pink, which became the iconic color for Owens Corning insulation almost by accident. It just goes to show you, powerful branding can literally invent a new meaning for a color out of thin air. So we've covered the theory, the harmony schemes, and the psychology. But how do you actually pull all of this together in a practical way? Well, let's look at the #1 tool designers use to turn all these abstract ideas into a solid, concrete plan. And that tool is the mood board. It's really just a collage, a collection of images, textures, colors, even words. But its job is so important. It's there to establish the feeling, the whole vibe of a project, before you even start making the final product. It's like a visual blueprint for the emotion you want to create. And the best part is, mood boards are a total creative playground. They're not one size fits all. You can throw things together and experiment with all kinds of styles. Maybe something warm and vintage or something cool and sleek. It's the perfect place to test out those color harmony principles we talked about and see what really feels right for your project. So in the end, a mood board is way more than just a bunch of pretty pictures. It is a powerful, strategic tool. It helps you get all your messy ideas organized, it helps you communicate what's in your head to other people, and it acts like a North Star for the entire project, making sure you stay true to that original feeling you wanted to capture. So there you have it. We've broken down the hidden language of color, from its basic grammar to its incredibly powerful psychology. It's a tool for communicating that goes way beyond words. So the only real question left is, now that you know the rules, how are you going to use color to make your story resonate?